Liz Cheney yesterday, the vice chair, of course, of that committee, laid out the long list of advisors to then President Trump, who pled the Fifth repeatedly when speaking with the committee. Here's what she said.
More than 30 witnesses in our investigation have invoked their Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. And several of those did so specifically in response to questions about their dealings with Donald Trump directly. This is Roger Stone with Oath Keepers at the Willard Hotel on the morning of January 6th. And here is Mr. Stone testifying before our committee.
Did you speak to President Trump on his private cell phone on either January 5th or January 6th?
Once again, on advice of counsel, I will assert my Fifth Amendment right to respectfully decline to answer your question.
This is General Michael Flynn walking with Oath Keepers on December 12th, 2020. And here is General Flynn's testimony before our committee.
Did you, General Flynn, talk to President Trump at any point on January 6, 2021?
The 5th.
Here is John Eastman fraudulently instructing tens of thousands of angry protesters that the vice president could change the election outcome on January 6th. Later on this same day, Dr. Eastman acknowledged in writing that Donald Trump knew what he was attempting was illegal. Here is John Eastman testifying before our committee.
Did President Trump authorize you to discuss publicly your January 4th, 2021 conversation with him?
Fifth.
So is it your position that you can discuss in the media direct conversations you had with the President of the United States, but you will not discuss those same conversations with this committee?
Fifth.
Here is Jeff Clark, who conspired with Donald Trump to corrupt the Department of Justice. President Trump wanted to appoint Jeff Clark as acting Attorney General. And as you can see in this call log we obtained from the National Archives, he did so. And here is Mr. Clark testifying before our committee.
Mr. Clark, when did you first talk directly with President Trump?
Fifth.
Mr. Clark, did you discuss with President Trump allegations of fraud in the 2020 election?
Fifth.
Other witnesses have also gone to enormous lengths to avoid testifying about their dealings with Donald Trump.
You know, Ari, we all have a constitutional right to plead the Fifth, and it should never be used against somebody. Obviously, in making out a case. That said, how ironic that the very people who accused Hillary Clinton of being a criminal because those remotely connected with her pled the Fifth. It's just too rich. I think I remember actually General Flynn talking about that and mocking her at the National Convention. And of course, Donald Trump saying, why would anybody plead the Fifth? The mob pleads the Fifth. And that's all they're doing now.
Yeah, Joe, I thought it was one of the most striking facts yesterday. I about fell out of my chair watching, and then I messaged one of my colleagues and said, wait, did she say 30? Can we double check that? Did we know that? You know, the way we do when we try to make sense of this. We knew a handful of them. I didn't know it was 30. That is a heck of a lot of people who cannot, under the advice of counsel, say under oath whether they were involved in violence or this overthrow of the government, this attempted coup, because they might incriminate themselves. And as you take pains to point out, Joe, and I agree with you, would remind the audience, yes, in a criminal trial, you can't even bring that up to the jury because of the fairness of our system. But the rest of the country is not engaged in a criminal trial. They're trying to understand why something that was first blamed falsely on Antifa or otherwise dissembled and denied about is now something that can't even be honestly answered. Because there's many other issues in public life where people debate it and they go back and forth and they say, maybe I did do that, or they're wrong, or whatever. This is a reminder that the facts matter in a way that even proven liars know, because they don't want to go in there and deal with any of this truthfully, because they would either lose, I guess, some of the moderates, some of the independents, a few conservatives. Certainly there's a part of the MAGA base we've seen backing the big line election deniers. But I thought it was a very compelling larger sort of extra legal out of court headline coming out of these hearings yesterday. 30 different people affiliated with Donald Trump claim or assert that if they answered honestly, they would involve themselves in election crimes. That's very bad.
So, political strategist Amanda Carpenter has a new piece for the conservative website, The Bulwark, in which she asks, the January 6th committee subpoenaed Trump. Now what? And she writes in part, quote, while Trump's presumed refusal to cooperate is an essential part of the factual record this committee is establishing for the public, it also underscores how inept our democratic system is at confronting a lawless former president. No significant penalties have been inflicted on members of the political class who were responsible for the insurrection. Trump remains favored as the 2024 GOP presidential nominee. He promises to pardon his violent supporters who attacked the Capitol. That's Donald Trump's vision of justice for January 6th. If our system is going to hold him accountable, it better get to work because it's running out of time. And Kurt, a couple of our, Donald Ayer was also saying we have no choice at this point. This former president has literally given anybody who loves this democracy no choice but to push forward and prosecute. Will they run out of time?
Well, we've often said that our system wasn't made for someone like Donald Trump to come in with the wrecking ball, that the cracks in the foundation of our checks and balance system and our justice system are being exposed here. What I hope happens is, that nugget about 30 people pleading the fifth, I hope that that is a trail that the Justice Department will now pick up on.
Right.
That where the January 6th committee couldn't get answers, the Justice Department can in their investigation. That is the only mechanism we have, because the only thing worse than letting Trump get away with it here is doing nothing, is exposing our system, sending the signal that if you go out and do this long term, if you go out and break these laws, foment insurrection, try to undermine our democratic process, that it's okay, that you'll get away with it, and you won't just get away with it, you'll be able to assume power and then get the people who committed these crimes off the hook. That's very dangerous for our future.
And while this is going on, which is dangerous and frustrating and cumbersome, talk about, if you could, Mary, the danger moving forward on a bigger scale.
Yeah, I think Liz Cheney really closed things out pretty aptly yesterday when she said that our institutions held the last time because of the men and women in good faith who made them hold. But right now what we have, because we have disinformation continuing from the mouths of Donald Trump and so many others, including elected officials, shamefully, doubling, tripling down on the big lie, that is what has fueled violence at a localized level. And it's a deliberate strategy. I mean, far-right extremist platform Gab announced it's county over country. Capture your county, then a few, then your state. And so what we're seeing is election deniers, right, running for positions at the local level all the way up to the state level and into Congress. And these are people who will have control over the next election.
That is frightening.
Like 2/3 of Americans will have an election denier on the ballot this November.
I'll say I understand Amanda's frustration. I understand Mika's frustration, but I'm reminded of the saying that the wheels of justice grind slow, but grind fine. You look what the Supreme Court did, denying all of Donald Trump's baseless claims. You look what the DOJ has been doing every day, arresting more people, charging more people, sending more people to jail because of January the 6th. You see what the January 6th committee has done. I think an extraordinary job. Kurt and I were a little concerned this time last year. And we got calls from members going, you just need to take a deep breath, be patient. You look what's happening with Merrick Garland. You look what's happening in the documents case. You look what happened yesterday with the United States Supreme Court. You look at the fact that there certainly are moves that appear that the DOJ may charge Donald Trump for January the 6th. You look what's happening in Georgia in that case, what's happening in New York civilly. Don't want to be Donald Trump right now. The wheels of justice are grinding.